You do not have to do everything perfectly. In fact, doing things imperfectly is perfectly perfect. Hello, welcome to episode number 2, hopefully, of this podcast. I am your host today, Annie, and this is being brought to you by Glimmer Seekers. And yeah, should we crack on? So I just started this by saying that you do not have to do everything perfectly. And that is a message that I would really, really like you to hear. This is something that I hear so much from people who come to work with me on their passion businesses. Now, I should probably explain what a passion business is. A passion business is your micro business or small business, depending on whether you have 10 or more employees. Which, by the way, I just learnt about on another podcast by the Lucky Night Studio guys, Naomi and Louise. So you should absolutely go check that out. I will link that episode in the notes or description of this podcast for you. I'm saying a lot. Did not do that in the last one. I'm a little distracted by the very bright light that is here. And every time I glance over, I then get like a circle. You know, when you look at the sun and you can like still see an imprint of it. It's very distracting. I'm not really a massive fan. Might have to find something to like just shroud it very slightly. Um, anyway, got distracted. So yeah, I really want you to hear the message that you and your passion business are absolutely perfect the way that you do things, because you are going to have limitations. There are going to be boundaries. These are words that I don't really like to use, but you also have to see limitations and boundaries as opportunities and challenges to grow. These are the moments where you will find the best of yourself and you will learn exactly who you are within your business. And let's face it, your business is your baby and your business is 100% you. And if it isn't 100% you, that's something we need to look at. So, I thought I would talk a little bit about my launch of the Glimmer Seekers Collective. The collective is the membership that I launched around 2 weeks ago at this point of recording. I'm coming up for 3 weeks tomorrow, actually, which just doesn't really feel that real, if I'm honest. Even just the launch doesn't feel that real. And even having a collective of amazing passion business owners who were like, yeah, I want to do the thing that you're setting up. This seems really exciting. Like, oh my goodness me. I am absolutely awed and humbled by those incredible human beings and the leaps and bounds and progress and just everything that they've done over the past 3 weeks. I am blown away by them. And I really hope that they know that. And I hope that you guys are listening to this. And I hope you are hearing that as well, because we so often will charge ahead. And I am an absolute one for this. We will charge ahead and we will go and we will go and we'll do these massive, amazing things, whether they are big or small. Every step is amazing, and we will not take the time to just stop and reflect and celebrate those things and be proud of ourselves. There is nothing wrong with you being proud of yourself. Please take the time to do that. Apart from anything, it does make your happy hormones have a little party, which is always a positive thing within you. So, where did Glimmer Seekers come from? Glimmer Seekers, I suppose it's a bit of a long story, and I will try not to be here forever boring your pants off. But in order for me to talk about the launch, I do need to give a little bit of backstory about this. I have I worked in a very corporate retail job for around 15 years. From the age of 16, I was very quickly progressed into management roles that I didn't ask for. I was very grateful for them, and I obviously loved the fact that my efforts and my work was being recognized. And I was told on multiple occasions that one of the reasons that I was being promoted is because of my strong opinions, my resourcefulness, and just generally my ability to point out when something wasn't going to work, but would always have a solution. And that kind of really highlights one of my strong points, which is that if I have something in my mind that I want to do, and it will plague me until I do it, and whether I have the equipment that you need, all these fandangled things, I will manage it. And that's exactly what happened with the launch. So worked in retail for a very, very long time, and I definitely had to deal with situations where we really thought that our kind of backs were up against the wall, and as teams, we would pull it together. We would always pull it together, and we would always achieve. And I think that's an amazing thing. And it really not brought to mind, it really taught me the power of working together as a team, but actually working together as a collective and using each other for inspiration and motivation to achieve something. Not necessarily achieve something together. It could be that we were working towards individual goals, but quite often working together and just throwing ideas around would really stimulate inspiration and motivation. Two of the keywords for the Glimmer Seekers. And I've always kind of carried that forward. I was made redundant when I was on maternity leave, and this was during the Panny. So, having a baby in the first lockdown was a challenge. And then obviously having redundancy, I was like, woohoo, boo, yeah, because that meant I had a surplus of money that I could then invest into having a business. And I absolutely took that for granted. I took that surplus of money for granted. And, these things, redundancy money doesn't actually last all that long. But what I did invest in was very, very helpful. I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing now without those things. So my phone, although I'm sure I would still have a phone, so I'd still be able to do that. My phone, my laptop, my iPad, those were the three key things that I invested in myself in order for me to be able to start a business. And I did, and I started my product business, and I think it's gone pretty well. I adapted to the business life quite easily. And then we started to have a few issues with my son's health. And I will not go into details here, but we have been down a journey of discovering a genetic divergence. And we have spent a fair amount of time in hospitals and things, which had quite the knock-on effect to my product business. And I just want to make clear that the reason that I'm not talking about it is not because I don't want to talk about it and I'm not particularly open about it. I'm quite happy to say that, my son has Noonan syndrome, which is something we'd never heard of. You've probably never heard of. You should Google it. Let's raise some awareness. But at the same time, it's my son's story, and he's not of an age where he can consent to me talking publicly about that. So if it seems like I'm being vague, then I am, and for a good reason. And I'm more than happy to tell you that reason, which I've just done. So that was a nice little aside, wasn't it? Did you see my shoulder click then? That was crazy. So this was having quite a knock-on effect to my product business. And it was meaning that I was actively having to limit myself. I was actively kind of stopping myself from scaling. I was having to remove certain products and services from it, and it wasn't generating the income that I needed. But at the same time, I couldn't generate any more from it because I couldn't keep up with the orders and things that were coming in. But behind the scenes, I was helping lots of other people with their businesses via my phone. And one of those people recognized that fact, and she came to me and she said, I really think that you should start a business membership, a membership for small business owners, or micro business owners, as we're now going to call them, or call us. And she said, you know, we've been in other business memberships and they're absolutely great. Very kind of business memberships, what you would expect. I've been in a couple. Every single one is different. Everyone has their pluses. Everyone has their minuses, in the same way that Glimmer Seekers Collective will have pluses and minuses, and everybody works differently. So what you respond to is going to be very different from what somebody else responds to. And that was one of the main components of the idea of the collective, would be that we actually would work together to form what is going to happen within the group, how we want it to work, because we need it to work for all of us, not just for the person leading it. Otherwise you don't have a membership, do you? And people will want to leave. And I really don't want that to happen, because the people who have joined are fantastic. And the other reason that she brought this idea to me was that she could see that I was really struggling with my product business, but she could also see that I was really thriving in helping other people with their businesses, literally through the accessibility of my phone, which BTW, we are so blessed to be in an age where like that is even possible. We have people in the membership from Canada, like all over the world, and that blows my little mind. And it just is amazing. It makes the world feel bigger and smaller all at the same time. But the point of this was the accessibility, and the fact that I actually have quite a bit of experience helping people with their businesses, because for some reason people seem to come for me, or I would be a bit of a nosy cow and I would be tooting in the window of their business and just start talking to them, and things would flow from there. I've never had somebody say to me, oh, the advice that you gave me was awful. Because a lot of the time I'm not giving advice, I'm just giving people space to give voice to the answers that they want to give, and giving them permission to just be like, that's great, that's okay, that's your business. You do what you want to do. There might be some fantastic ways for us to devise for you to do that, but essentially, if that's your vision, that's what you should do. And in this grand old world of social media and the internet, we are quite often bowled down by the coaching business world. Like it's a big old thing, and so much of the focus now, and maybe I'm just seeing it, maybe it's just in my echo chamber, but a lot of it is this kind of aiming for six figures, etc., etc. And in reality, how many people really want that? How many people want finances to be their primary focus? I don't think it should be. I think that healthy finances should be a beautiful, energetic byproduct of you working your business and putting your passion into it, letting yourself shine, allowing yourself to communicate yourself and your business in the way that absolutely works for you and is true to you, because that's what people love. That is what people want to see. That's what people want to respond to. So when I started setting Glimmer Seekers up, I did that. And I communicated very, very honestly about it. I first started talking about it in the lives that I do in Mini Moon Arts Instagram every weekday morning, availability permitting. And people got interested. So I set up the Instagram and I just went for it. Like I just went for it. We had the idea in, was it June or July? Towards the end of, no, I think it was the beginning of July. And on the 15th of September, we launched, which is about 2 months. A lot of people will spend years and years and years planning and plotting these things. And not quite the same as that. I will just go for it. And the reason it was September is because my son was going to be at nursery for a lot of time, supposedly. And I had kind of carved myself 8 days, or what I thought was around 8 days, to build the community, build some of the course, build a website. I needed to find somewhere to build the website, and I needed somewhere that wasn't going to cost me an arm and a leg, and I did find that. And then actually what it turned out to be was hospital visits, illness for around 3 weeks for all 3 of us in the house, full-time mumming. So what was going to be 8 days actually turned out to be approximately 10 hours. I'm not going to say most people. I feel like a lot of people would let that kind of, not defeat. I don't want to say I'm amazing, I'm one apart. But I've done such a lot of work on my perfectionism, and I am a recovering perfectionist. And so much of what I talk about is being imperfect. And the wonderful thing about being imperfect is that there is so much space to grow. Whereas if all you do is aim for perfection, you will never do anything because perfection does not exist. And B, once you've done it, what do you do from there? Like, is that not kind of boring? So what I did was I actually just whittled all of my plans down and brought it to the absolute skeleton of what I needed to do. And that's what I did. And I launched my imperfect, perfect launch. And funnily enough, that was one of the things that actually drew a couple of the members to join the membership, because I was so honest about the process and because I showed them you do not have to be perfect to do. It's like so many social media managers. Well, I mean, I work with one, it's Rachel from Happy Hippo Social, and she is amazing. And she has always said to us, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to post it. And I think that imperfection really brings something quite special and really, really communicates something really quite wonderful with your audience, with the tribe, with your community that has formed around your passion and your passion business. And that's wonderful. And that's what they want to see. They want to know the ups and downs. As much as we probably don't want to post about that, you don't have to be Instagram ready all the time. In fact, I will absolutely advocate for the opposite, because perfection is a block. It's not an opportunity. Imperfection has every opportunity. Imperfection has every path that you could possibly have. I'm so sorry. My cat just like popped up from out of nowhere there. That was a very interesting. And a message has just come through from the Let's Grow Telegram group. So there might have been a little bling going on there. And well, I suppose that fits perfectly, doesn't it? Because my podcast is never going to be perfect. I don't want it to be. I really, really don't want it to be. It's not going to be polished. It's going to be quite raw. For that very reason, because I want you to know that you can do anything that you want to. You really can do anything that you want to. If you can dream it, it can happen. If you can imagine it, it can happen. If you have a beautiful vision, it can happen. And there will be times that things don't go the way that you think that they need to go. But in actual fact, they go exactly the way that they need to go. It's just that you might not see what positive thing comes out of it until, much further down the line. And on that note, hopefully some sense has come out of my absolute rambling about being imperfectly perfect. And I hope you've taken something from it. And I hope that it helps you with moving forward with your passion business. And if it hasn't, and you're still here, then, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate anybody who is still here at the end of this. And yeah, if that hasn't, I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I can say, mate. Anyway, I am going to go. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a truly wonderful and magnificent day. Bye.